It's too late now. At 25 years old, I was diagnosed with stage 2 cancer. I called my mother while crying. My mother said, "We can't deal with this problem right now. Your sister is planning her wedding." I went through chemotherapy alone. Years later, when they needed me, I gave only one answer. It's too late now. My name is Emma Wilson. I am 32 years old, and I live in a small town in Texas. Even today, I remember the day the doctor placed my report in my hands. The room had white walls. There was a small table beside me, and the doctor's voice was calm. "Emma, your test results are back." I looked at his face. I already knew something was wrong. "You have stage 2 cancer." Just one sentence, but it changed my entire life. I was 25 years old. At that age, people think about weddings, starting new jobs, and planning trips. I was sitting in a hospital room thinking about the next chapter of my life, and that chapter was treatment. The first person I called was my mother. My hand was shaking. The phone rang 3 times. Then she answered. "Hello, Emma." For a few seconds, I couldn't speak. Then I said, "Mom, the doctor just told me I have cancer." Silence filled the other side of the phone. I expected her to say, "I'm coming right now. You're not alone. We'll fight this together." But the response I received was completely different. "Emma," her voice sounded concerned, "but not for me. We can't deal with this problem right now." I went quiet. "What do you mean?" She slowly said, "Your sister is planning her wedding." I thought maybe I had heard her wrong. "Mom, I'm talking about cancer." She replied, "I know, but there is a lot happening in the family right now." I closed my eyes. "You're not going to help me?" She answered, "You're strong, Emma. You can handle this yourself." Then she said something I will never forget. "Don't ruin your sister's time right now." The call ended. I sat there for a long time, holding my phone. That was the first time I understood something. Some people can be part of your family, but they are not always part of your hardest moments. My sister Olivia was 2 years older than me. She had always been the favorite child. She was beautiful and outgoing. At every family event, everyone's attention went toward her. When Olivia announced her engagement, the entire family celebrated. My mother spent 3 weeks talking about wedding plans, the dress, the venue, the guest list, and every little detail. And during that same time, I was going back and forth to the hospital for tests, reports, and doctor's appointments. But nobody asked how I was doing. I still remember my first day of chemotherapy. I was sitting alone in a hospital room. A needle was attached to my arm. The television in front of me was playing, but the sound was turned off. There was nobody sitting beside me. Nobody holding my hand. Nobody telling me everything would be okay. I sent my mother another message. "Today is my first chemotherapy session." Her reply came a few minutes later. "I hope everything goes well. Olivia's dress fitting is tomorrow. Pray everything works out." I stared at the message. Then I turned off my phone. After that day, I stopped asking anyone for help. I scheduled my own appointments. I drove myself to the hospital. I sat through treatments alone, and I drove myself back home. Some days were harder than others. Some nights, I just stared at the ceiling. I didn't know what my future would look like. I didn't know if I would get better. But I reminded myself of one thing. I wanted to survive. Not to prove anything to anyone, but for myself. 6 months later, I had my final chemotherapy session. The doctor looked at my results and smiled. "Your reports look good for now." For the first time in months, I took a deep breath. I had made it. I survived. But during that time, my family had moved on with their lives. Olivia got married. Pictures appeared all over social media. The entire family was there. My mother was smiling in one of the pictures. I looked at that photo for a long time. Then I put my phone away. Nobody asked why I wasn't there. Nobody asked how my health was. Nobody asked what I had gone through. Years passed. I rebuilt my life. I started a new job. I bought my own house. I made new friends. I learned something important. Not every empty space in your life can be filled by family. Some spaces have to be filled by yourself. 5 years later, I received a phone call. It was my mother. I stared at the screen for several seconds. Then I answered. "Hello, Mom." Her voice sounded different. "Emma, we need you." I stayed quiet. "What happened?" She told me my father was sick. Olivia had moved to another city with her husband, and they needed someone to help. I looked out the window. 5 years earlier, I had needed someone, too. But nobody had knocked on my door. My mother said, "We know things weren't good in the past." I didn't say anything. She continued, "But we're family." That sentence made me silent because those were the exact words I needed to hear 5 years earlier. "Mom, do you remember when I had cancer?" The other side became quiet. "Emma." "No. Answer me. Do you remember?" After a long pause, she said, "Yes." "What did you say to me?" She didn't answer. So I answered for her. "You said you couldn't deal with it because Olivia was planning her wedding." Her voice became heavier. "I'm sorry." I closed my eyes. 5 years. Just an apology. My mother said, "We really need you." I slowly replied, "I needed you, too." Silence. When I was sitting alone in that hospital room, when I was afraid I might not survive, that's when I needed you. My voice was calm. Not angry, just honest. "But you weren't there." She started crying. "Emma, we were wrong." I answered, "Yes, you were." Then, after a few seconds, I said, "But it's too late now." The other side of the phone became silent. I ended the call. And this time, I had no regrets. For the first time, I chose myself. Thank you for staying with this story until the end. If you found Emma's journey meaningful, please support us by leaving a like and subscribing for more powerful stories. Your support helps us continue sharing emotional stories that connect with real human experiences.